Good morning, all of you. In today's session, we are going to start with the 10th standard chemistry and physics, where unit number 7, classification of elements, the periodic table, series number 4 is going to be discussed. In today's session, we are going to deal with modern periodic table, which is modified based on all the previous assumptions given by various scientists, and it is the fruit of all the extracts which are taken from all the previous since the identification of phosphorus element, and till now just before this Mendeleev periodic table is there. From all these, the best concepts are there, all are categorized and made into a modern periodic table that was done by Henry Moseley, and it is purely based on atomic number and even you can say electronic configuration of the given atom, right? So this is the kind of classification of all the known elements. Till now 115 elements are well known to us, and more new compounds or new elements are going to be added, and still there is an expansion of that periodic table is going to be carried, because science is not going to stop anywhere. Always there is evaluation. In that manner, it will be extended in further, right? So in the earlier session, we completed Mendeleev periodic table, and apart from that, unit 1 to 6 are also available on the channel called the World of Competitive Chemistry. Now we entered into chapter number 7 and various theories of classification, how elements are categorized into various groups as well as periods. Those topics are discussed in this lesson, right? So now let us enter into our series number 4, Modern Periodic Table by Henry Moseley. Henry Moseley is the scientist who started in 19th century. Mendeleev's molecular weight-based classification was done in 18th century, whereas Henry Moseley done his classification in the 19th century. Found that each element had a characteristic pattern of X-ray when subjected to bombardment by high-energy electrons. When we apply the X-ray irradiation, so here various electromagnetic radiations are present in the spectrum, and from that here X-rays are going to be bombarded on the different elements. So different elements are having their distinct kind of quality towards this X-ray bombardment pattern. Whenever X-rays are bombarded with the atom or any kind of element, they are showing various kind of characteristic pattern. So each and every element having its own distinctive properties with respect to X-ray diffraction parameters. That's the reason why, based on this X-ray analysis, he categorized all the elements into various columns as well as groups. So all are possible. So initially he made the research based on this X-ray pattern, X-ray bombardment with the elements, so the different elements are distinct in nature. So all the elements with respect to these properties, they are categorized, right? So by analyzing X-ray pattern, Moseley was able to calculate number of positive charges in the atom of respective elements. So here, cathode ray analysis, X-ray analysis is also termed as a cathode ray analysis, where positive charges are going to be analyzed. So this is kind of inception for the atomic number concept, because a positive charge is most probably considered as a proton, and based on number of protons only the concept of atomic number was discovered. That purely on the X-ray analysis. So if X-rays are moving without any scattering, so that indicates there is no kind of positively charged species are present. And if a certain extent of bending in the X-rays are possible, that denotes the pattern, the kind of protons or nucleons present in the central part of the element, right? So based on this X-ray pattern, he analyzed, he calculated number of positive charges present in the different elements, right? So various atoms are showing their increasing property of nucleons, so that here proton number is gradually increasing. That purely analyzed based on the X-ray pattern of analysis. The number of positive charges which are denoted as the protons present in the central part of nucleons, right? These atoms of the elements are said to be atomic number. Atomic number clearly defined as number of positive charges or number of protons present in the central part of the atom. So this is the concept of atomic number. So purely based on this atomic number only, entire periodic table was framed. So for that purpose, these positive charges are the fundamental particles which used to impart distinct properties to different kind of elements, right? So here we sorted atom anatomy. So atom anatomy is nothing but already we know this topic was discussed in the structure of atom, where every atom is composed of electrons, protons, and also neutrons. Where proton consisting a positive charge and a mass of 1 atomic mass unit, which is indicated in the grams as 1.67 into 10 to the power minus 24. And always these protons are found in the nucleus, and together with the neutrons are said to be on nucleons. Proton is the fundamental thing in order to denote the atomic number. Number of protons exactly equals to number of atomic number. Its atomic number. When you go with carbon, its number of protons are 6. Subsequently, you can say atomic number is also 6. In that manner, number of protons exactly equals to its atomic number, right? And let us move on to any other fundamental or subatomic particle which is present in the atom. Negative charge containing particles are called electrons, and mass is almost negligible. So in terms of atomic mass units, so you can take it as a 0. And in terms of grams, 9.11 into 10 to the power minus 28. Lightest subatomic particle is a electron. Heaviest subatomic particle is a neutron, right? So even though mass of the neutron exactly is equal to proton, but some extent neutron will be heavier, you can say. Right. So here electron found in the outside of the nucleus, they are revolving around the nucleus in their certain electron cloud. So in a neutral atom, number of electrons exactly is equal to number of protons. When you take carbon, carbon consisting 6 protons and also having 6 electrons as well, because being it is a neutral, whatever neutral atom you are taking in the entire periodic table, all electrons exactly is equal to number of protons present in that, right? So this is the concept of electrons. Now let us move on to neutrons. Again, neutrons also associated with the protons at the central part called the nucleons. And at this nucleus, neutrons also one of the part, and they are neutral in nature. Because of that one only you are saying it is a neutron. Means a neutral in nature, neither positive nor negative. So zero charge will be associated with them, and mass is denoted with 1 atomic mass unit, just like a proton. Proton also consisting 1 atomic mass unit and found in the nucleus. So always the nucleons are called protons and neutrons. So when we go with protons, number of protons plus number of neutrons, that is called its atomic mass. Right? Atomic mass is given by protons plus neutrons. Atomic number is given by protons alone, right? So here, always they found in the nucleus, and neutron is equal to mass number minus atomic number, because mass number is given by number of protons plus neutrons, right? And atomic number is given by only proton. That's the reason why if you go with the subtraction of mass number minus atomic number, you will get how many neutrons are present in the given atom. So this is the kind of application in order to find out how many neutrons present in the given atom, right? So this is a very important thing in order to find out the isotopes for various elements. Not only the single element, it also sees so many number of isotopes with that. So isotopes are having variation in atomic neutrons rather than protons and electrons. Proton electron count will not be varied except the neutrons. Neutron count will be varied from various isotopes, right? So this is about the anatomy of atom. This is extra information which is related to this periodic properties. Now let us move on to any the continuation of our modern periodic table. So earlier, atomic weight was taken as a prominent criteria in order to classify all the elements into various categories. But now entire focus was shifted from atomic weight to atomic number concept by this Henry Moseley. So this is the modern and a newly invented one. Atomic weight concept was given by Mendeleev. In accordance with this, here entire elements, even main groups are subcategorized into A, B subgroups also present. But we faced some obstacles in this atomic weight criteria, so that in order to overcome all those problems, we entered into a new concept called atomic number concept. Right. With this analysis, mostly realized that atomic number is more fundamental characteristic in order to categorize all elements rather than atomic weight. So atomic number is a most accurate concept when compared to the atomic weight concept in order to categorize the elements. After knowing atomic numbers of all the elements, he recognized a better way of arranging all the elements in the periodic table in accordance with their atomic number pattern. So all are sequentially arranged in the increasing order of their atomic numbers rather than atomic weights. So many problems we faced in case of tellurium and iodine, that is one obstacle, and some of the anomalous series also present in that. And moreover, metals and non-metals are kept in the same main shell, and the sublevels are present, but the contradictory properties are exhibited by them. So many obstacles we faced, even though we have so many qualitative and quality-based assumptions given by atomic weight classification. So here atomic number concept was introduced, and the sequential increasing order of atomic number, all the elements are arranged in this manner in this new or modern periodic table. And in this modern periodic table, the growing concept, right, is thinking will be in order to solve the previous problem, which was the obstacle created in the Mendeleev's periodic table. Tellurium placed earlier when compared to iodine, but it was simply solved by this new modern periodic table. That is the rightest position only. Need not to change its position, because tellurium consisting atomic number of 52, that is nothing but number of protons associated with tellurium will be 52 only, and the mass number will be 127. Though it will be 127, neutron count will be larger, but the atomic number will be 52 only. That means the proton count will be 52 only, right? And the next subsequent element will be iodine, right, whose atomic number is 53. So 52 followed by 53, this is the correct sequence in accordance with the main criteria provided by the Henry Moseley in the modern periodic table, purely based on the atomic number concept. 52 followed by 53, this is a righteous arrangement. This is a growing concept, we can say, right? So which was the obstacle in case of the Mendeleev periodic table? Need not to change the position of these elements, rather we have to change the perception of thinking. Instead of atomic weight, we have to move on to atomic number concept. So this is the kind of advantage by this modern periodic table. And let us see what is the modernization of this periodic table and the classification of all the elements. Physical and chemical properties of all the elements are the periodic functions of their atomic numbers. So whatever qualitative properties imparted, either physical or chemical properties. Physical properties included with the boiling point, melting point, density values, all these, and whether it is solid, liquid, gas, or what will be the order of the compound, all these comes under the physical properties. When you go with their chemical properties, how it is reactive towards the reagents, what is the oxidizing nature, reducing nature, electron absorbing nature, electron releasing nature, all these comes under the chemical properties of given element, right? So this kind of exemption, physical chemical properties of each and every element are imparted. So periodically, that there is a growing change. So there is a sequential change in periodic properties in accordance with the atomic numbers. Atomic number is the deciding factor in order to arrange all the elements in the modern periodic table, so that their properties also based on their atomic number only, right? The periodic laws have changed from the molecular weight concept to the atomic weight concept. Now it is called a modern periodic law. So where most of the obstacles what we used in the earlier concept were totally resolved here. And moving towards the excellence, we know that Mendeleev periodic law was stated as properties of elements of the Right. So, but atomic weight concept now moved on to the excellence, where atomic number concept was introduced here. You can clearly observe the helium being it is noble gas associated with completely filled electronic configuration here. Atomic symbol is denoted with helium, and the number of protons present in this central nucleus will be 2, and the subsequent mass number will be 4, because the 2 protons and the 2 neutrons are associated in this. Superscript always denotes its mass number, and the subscript always denotes its atomic number. This is a kind of representation. Always it will be taken as a scientific way of representation of any element, right? So here, the excellent part of the modern periodic table will be concerned about the atomic number rather than the atomic weight of the given element. So this is the criteria for modern periodic table, and this is a kind of entire classification of all the elements. Modern periodic table was framed in this manner. So how the Mendeleev periodic table, some of the things whichever present in the Mendeleev, as such they adapted here also. What is the nature? In the Mendeleev's time only, 18th century only, lanthanides and actinides are kept aside from the entire periodic table, and hydrogen being hydrogen, whose atomic number is taken as 1 and the simplest element in the entire periodic table. Hence, hydrogen, the entire periodic table will be started with the hydrogen, and whose atomic number will be 1 and the mass number will be taken as 1.008. Right. So this is about the entire periodic table, and let us have the quick glance on this. Here, left side, whatever elements present here, 1 and 2, these two represents what? S block elements, because differentiating electron will be entered into S orbital of their valency shell, so that you can say first group and second group elements together are represented as S block elements. When you move on to 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All these 6 groups are regarded as P block elements. What could be the reason? Because the differentiating electron will be entered into p orbital of their valency shell. P orbital is subsequently occupying. How many p orbitals will be there? 3 p orbitals, and the maximum capacity will be 6 electrons, right? That's the reason why here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 p orbital, 6 p block groups will be there, and these are the elements with the most of the non-metallic properties. So topmost elements are regarded as a non-metals and acidic in nature. Whatever S block elements we are taking, all these regarded as a basic compound, so that first group elements are called alkali metals. Alkali metals are nothing but basic compounds when added with water. Alkaline earth metals are nothing but most of these elements are extracted from the earth and having the nature of base. That's the reason why these are called alkaline earth metals, right? And all the p block elements are the differentiating electron enters into this will be a P1, P2, P3, P4, P5, P6. So this is about the sequential arrangement of all the p block elements. Most of the elements of these this category will be non-metals. As we move on to top to bottom, basic what metallic nature gradually increases, right? And the topmost elements mostly regarded as acidic in nature. So this is about p block. And when you observe 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, all these groups, how many are there? 1 to 10. So these 10 groups are regarded as D block elements. These are called D block elements. So D block, how many d orbitals will be there? D orbitals are always 5. Maximum capacity of occupants will be 10 electrons here. So that here D block elements will be D1, D2, D3, D4, D5, D6, D7, D8, D9, and D10. In this manner, total we have 10 D block elements. Except a D10 system, remaining all are regarded as transition metals, whose d orbitals are partially filled. So if it is completely filled, that may not be considered as a transition metal. D1 to D9 elements. That means group number 3 to group number, what's the number? It will be 19. Group number 3 to group number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Group number 11, these are regarded as a transition metals whose properties are bridging between S block and P block. They are working like a bridge between S block and P block elements. Certain extent resembling S block, certain extent resembling P block. That's why they are carrying the properties from S block to P block. That's why you can say these are called a transition. They are making the transition between S to D block, S to P block. That's why these are called a transition metals, right? So this is about the categorization, S block, P block, and even D block. Now let us move on to A block. A block in the sense, F orbital consisting how many orbitals? F orbital having 7 orbitals in its valency shell. 7 orbitals maximum occupancy will be 14 electrons. That's why 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 will be there. Here, lanthanum and actinium. So lanthanum and actinium, these two, even though we are going to start with lanthanides, so A block elements of 4F1 will be with the lanthanide, but lanthanum will be D block element only. It should be occupied here. And actinium, even though we are saying this 5F1 series with actinides, but this will be regarded as D block element only. Then you can say from cerium onwards, A block element will be started. From thorium onwards, 5F series will be started rather than lanthanum and actinium. Lanthanum and actinium will be a part of D block elements only. 4F series will be started with the cerium, ends with the lutetium. 5F series will be started with thorium, ends with the lawrencium, right? So this is about the kind of modern periodic table. All the elements are arranged in the increasing atomic number pattern. And there are certain categorization in this modern periodic table. Whatever properties you want to explore, everything will be clearly explained by this modern periodic table in detail, right? And we have one more doubt. Why A block elements are kept in the separate segment and not included in the entire periodic table? The reason will be almost all the lanthanides and actinides. Lanthanides and actinides are nothing but A block elements, are regarded as radioactive in nature. They have the property of continuous emission of radiation. That may be alpha radiation, beta radiation, gamma radiation. That kind of continuous emission of radiation is possible by lanthanides and actinide elements. That's the reason why. So being these are highly unstable nucleus, as the size of nucleus increases, their stability will be decreased, so that there will be a continuous emission of radiation. So these elements are separately distinguished. So this is about the complete description about the modern periodic table. And one more thing we have to discuss. S block and P block elements together are regarded as a representative elements. S block and P block, where S electrons and P electrons will be accompanied with them. So these are called representative elements, and the elements of all D block are called D block elements. And in the D block elements, we have one more subcategory called transition metals. All the 4F series whose atomic number will be started with a 58, but they are proceeding after lanthanum. Hence, these are regarded as a lanthanides. And 5F series will be started with the atomic number of 90. Right, thorium will be the starting element actually, but they are preceded by actinium. That's the reason why these 5F series elements are regarded as actinide elements, right? So this is about the entire description of a modern periodic table. Now, let us see what will be the value addition with this modern periodic table, how the extension is possible from long form to short form, or short form to long form. There is a vice versa condition will be there. Okay, so based on the modern periodic law, modern periodic table which is given here is, so in accordance with the modern periodic law, what will be the modern periodic law? So in accordance with the increasing atomic number, all the physical and chemical properties of the elements are the periodic functions of different intervals. That is the new modern periodic law. So that is mainly given by the atomic number concept. This will be the value addition used to avoid all kind of obstacles what we faced earlier. And the extension of the original Mendeleev's periodic table, known as a short form of the table, and this modern table is called a long form of the periodic table. Why Mendeleev's is said to be a shorter one and the modern periodic table is called a longer one? Because in the Mendeleev periodic table, each group again we have subgroups. That means more number of elements accumulated in the single group. But in case of this modern periodic table, each and every element have their own distinct position in that periodic table, so that we can say it is an elaborated one. Each and every element have its unique properties, and there is a perfect categorization of each and every element. But in case of Mendeleev, what he did, in the single group, again subcategories, subgroups are present, so that there will be ambiguity. So here that kind of obstacle is completely resolved in this modern periodic table. That's the reason why you can say Mendeleev periodic table will be the shorter one. Mostly periodic table will be the long form or enlarged or completely comprehensive kind of periodic table was given here, right? So here modern periodic table, which is given by Henry Moseley, where atomic number is the fundamental criteria. Atomic number is nothing but equal number of protons present in the nucleus. So here atomic number exactly equals to protons present in the nucleus. Always atomic number have the parameter that is Z. So it always represented with the term called as Z. On the periodic chart, Z is the uppermost number. So already we here you can clearly observe always subscript will be the atomic number, superscript will be the mass number will be taken. That's the reason why. That's the reason why here Z will be represented. Z will be represented in the subscript part, and Z denotes what atomic number. Atomic number exactly is equal to number of protons present in the central nucleus, right? In 1930, Henry Moseley was given this concept of atomic number, and always elements differs from one element to another in their increasing order of their number of protons present in the nucleus. What is the concept of atomic number? So as we are moving from left to right hand side, their number of protons are gradually increasing. In case of neutral atom, if you consider a neutral atom, in case of neutral atom, how many protons are present? That number exactly is equal to number of electrons which are revolving around the nucleus, right? So this is the concept of atomic number denoted with Z. It indicates not only the positive charge present, and that exactly is equal to number of electrons which are revolving around the nucleus. So this is the concept of modern periodic table. And the classification of elements based upon the electronic configuration. This is somewhat advanced step, we can say. Atomic number is purely based on the number of protons, and here the concept is somewhat modified and somewhat extended into electronic configuration. Whenever electron came into the picture, so J.J. Thomson was the scientist who invented the electrons. After the invention, electronic configuration taken as a criterion, because the number of protons exactly is equal to electrons, and the electron concept was introduced. Now, modern periodic table have another alternate definition. Physical and chemical properties of the atom of element depends not on the number of protons, but on the number of electrons or their electronic configuration present in the atom. There is no much deviation, because whatever element you are taking, for example, if you are taking hydrogen consisting one proton in the central nucleus and one electron in the surrounding electrons around that. So that's the reason why there is no ambiguity, because number of protons always having number of electrons equal in number. That's why this is we can say alternate definition with respect to atomic number. Atomic number is nothing but number of protons, whereas in either classification is also given based on electronic configuration. So after the invention of electron, the definition is slightly we can say this is an alternative definition, not completely modified, alternative definition for the modern periodic table, because where the physical and chemical properties of the given element are the periodic functions of electronic configuration of the atom. Because number of protons and electrons both are exactly equal. That's the reason why there is no much change. If we shifting definition from atomic number to electronic configuration. So this is also regarded as the definition for the modern periodic table law and the concept of modernization. Therefore, modern periodic table mainly physical and chemical properties of the elements, periodic functions of electronic configuration of their atoms. So whatever the properties imparted purely based on the electronic configuration, because electrons only participating based on the nature of electrons only, either there is a formation of ionic bond, otherwise covalent bond, otherwise coordinate covalent bond, that kind of metallic nature, non-metallic nature, gaseous nature, liquid nature, solid nature, everything are imparted by these electrons revolving around the central nucleus, right? So here, that's the reason why electronic configuration came into the picture. And the electronic configuration is represented with a certain guidelines. In order to give the electronic configuration, we have to obey 3 rules which were discussed in the structure of atom. One is Pauli's exclusion principle, and the second is Arbo principle. Third one is Hund's rule. These 3 are very important in order to assign the electronic configuration for any element. If I am taking fluorine from the entire periodic table, where it is located, fluorine is located in the halogen family. You can say 17th group it will be. So 1s2, 2s2, 2p5. 2p5. 1s2 means s orbital is accompanied by 2 electrons, and second principal quantum number s orbital is accompanied by 2 electrons, and p orbital is also accompanied with 5 electrons in outer shell. So that this will be the electronic configuration. Maximum capacity of s orbital will be 2, p orbital 6 maximum capacity. This is not the electronic configuration. This is the maximum limit what it will fill. And a d orbital maximum capacity will be 10 electrons. F orbital 14 electrons will be filled in this, right? So here, fluorine 1s2, 2s2, 2p5 is the electronic configuration. This is purely in accordance with the 3 principles just now we discussed, and this is the kind of system called a Euler's diagram, right? So here, this is the concept of modern periodic table, and the modern periodic table has 18 vertical columns. Vertical columns are nothing but which are assigned from top to bottom. From top to bottom, these vertical columns are said to be groups, right? So in the periodic table, vertical columns are regarded as groups. Then you go from left to right. If you are moving from left to right hand side, these are called horizontal rows. Horizontal rows are called periods. In this picture, they are clearly mentioned. Groups are nothing but vertical. For example, I'm taking first group, hydrogen, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, francium. How we are moving? In the vertical manner, we are moving. That's the reason why you can say it is a group. It is a group. Now let us assign a period. Period is nothing but left to right hand side. I'm going from left to right hand side. First period consisting hydrogen and helium. First period having only 2 elements. One is hydrogen, second is helium. Again, I'm considering here period only. Second period, lithium, beryllium. After beryllium, next element will be boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon. This will be the horizontal column said to be a period. So in this manner, top bottom is called a group. Left to right is called a period. So this is the kind of arrangement of elements in the modern periodic table. How many groups are there? 18 vertical groups will be assigned for a modern periodic table. And horizontal rows are 7 horizontal rows are present. So means 7 periods are present. 18 groups and 7 horizontal periods are present. And 7th horizontal period is incomplete. Most of the elements yet to be discovered. So still the process is going on. So, but scientific names already assigned. So forthcoming elements already assigned with their scientific names already. Whatever element are coming, just they will fix in these places. This is an incomplete period, you can say, right? Now let us move on to modern periodic table. Let us see the what decide the position of elements in the modern periodic table. Modern periodic table purely based on the atomic number, alternatively regarded as the electronic configuration of the atom. So this will be the suitability of the all elements in this modern periodic table. You can say it is a long form of the classification of all the elements. And periodic characteristics or valency electrons determine the chemical and physical properties of the elements. Always whatever element you are taking, their valency electron, how many electrons present in the outermost shell, that will be the major reason for its chemical and physical properties. Valency electrons are denoted as electrons which are present in the outermost energy level. So if you take hydrogen, for example, how many electrons are there? Only one electron will be there. What will be the outer shell for that one? 1s is the outer shell. Then what will be the valency electron for that one? 1s1 is the valency electron. In this manner, so if you take any kind of element, outermost energy level is regarded as the valency shell or valency energy level. So the electrons which present in the valency shell are called valency electrons. Elements with the same number of valency electrons will have the similar chemical properties. That's the reason why when you go with the first group, for example, so for simplest understanding, we are taking first group, hydrogen being it is associated with 1s1. So 1s orbital having 1 electron. In case of lithium, 1s2, 2s1. Again, outer shell having 1 electron only. That's why there is a resemblance. When you move on to sodium, 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s1. So here 1s1, 2s1. Here sodium is having 3s1. Potassium, 4s1. Rubidium, 5s1. Cesium, 6s1. Francium, 7s1. In this manner, gradually principal quantum number increases. Valency shell electrons remains the same. In all the cases, outer shell having only 1 electron. So that is simply represented as ns1. ns1 means 1s1, 2s1, 3s1. Whatever number you can take, that will be. But outer electron count will be same. So if valency electrons are same, then all those are represented in the same group. That is the kind of arrangement given in the periodic table, right? I'm repeating one more time. So based on the valency electrons, different elements are grouped in different groups. Okay. So if outer electron is only ns1, all are regarded as a first group elements. If outer electrons are ns2, then all are regarded as second group elements. The elements with similar outer shell electrons are called what? Valency electrons. These valency electrons are same and all are present in the same group. Okay. So I'm taking one more example. If you take boron, boron P1 means NS2 NP1 is the configuration here, right? So NS2 NP1. So here 2P1 is given for boron, 3P1 is given for aluminium, 4P1 is given for gallium, 5P1 is given for indium, 6P1 is given for thallium. So in this manner, what happens? So only one electron will be there in the P shell. So valency electrons remain same. That's why all are present in the same group. Same number valency electrons, elements are in the same group. So that is the criteria for modern periodic table, right? So now let us see what is so extensive study about valency electrons and valency, because the total concept is purely based on these valency electrons only. Let us have the detailed explanation by taking the carbon as an example. So when you take carbon as an example, what is the atomic number? Atomic number will be 6. What will be the electronic configuration? 1s2, 2s2, 2p2, right? 1s2, 2s2, 2p2 will be the electronic configuration. Then what are the valency electrons? First, what is valency shell here? Valency shell is nothing but, just now we got the definition, outermost energy level is called a valency shell. Here, how many energy levels are there? 2 energy levels are there. One is first principal quantum number, second is second principal quantum number. So energy levels are 2 here. First level is 1s, second energy level 2s and 2p. So this 2s and 2p together are valency shell. This is the outermost shell. 2s and 2p together is the outermost shell. Hence, you can say this is the valency shell. And how many valence electrons are there in this? 2s is having 2 electrons, 2p is also having 2 electrons. How many valency electrons are there? 4 valency electrons are there, right? So this is called the number of valency electrons in the given atom. Okay. So when carbon was taken, it consisting 1s, 2s, 2 subshells. 1s is the first energy level, 2s and 2p together is the second energy level, right? So in 2s and 2p, total how many electrons we have? 4. That's why these 4 are called valency electrons. These 4 electrons will participate in the chemical bond formation, right? This is about the concept of valency electrons and valency, right? So its valency is 4 because 4 valency electrons are present in the carbon. Hence, you can say carbon is a tetravalent in nature. Tetravalent means what? 4 electrons are there in its outer energy level, right? So now let us move on to position of the elements in the modern periodic table. So by taking just now we already discussed the first group elements. Again, detailed explanation is given here. First group elements when taken because it will be very simple to understand. In the first group, we have a hydrogen followed by lithium, followed by sodium, followed by potassium, followed by ruby, cesium, and francium. These are the elements present in first group, right? So what happens? Principal quantum number gradually increases. The principal quantum number only one will be there for hydrogen. Principal quantum will be 1 and 2. Principal number will be 1, 2 and 3. It will be 3. Potassium 4. Rubidium 5, cesium 6, francium 7. There is a graduation in the principal number is possible. Now let us see their electronic configuration. What is the valency shell for lithium? Valency shell will be 2s. Sodium 3s. Potassium 4s. Rubidium 5s. Cesium 6s. Francium 7s. These are called outermost energy levels are called valency shells, and these are the electrons called valency electrons present in their outer shell. So this is a kind of representation. So how they are accompanied, same group elements are having same number of electrons. Here 2s also accompanied with 1 electron, 3s with 1 electron, 4s with 1 electron, 5s with 1 electron. And in case of cesium, 6s with 1 electron, francium 7 is with 1 electron. That's why valence electrons are same. So they are grouped in the same one, same group. First group elements are NS1, common electronic configuration. So this is the criteria for modern period. So now let us see how the distribution of electrons are in these elements. In the chapter structure of atom, you have learned that S subshell with 1 Yes. When we go back, when we recap our previous knowledge from the structure of atom, where S subshell is accompanied by only maximum of 2 electrons. When you go with 1s subshell, where 2 electrons will be occupied here. When we move on to p orbital, maximum capacity of the electrons will be 6 because p orbitals are 3 and 3 are degenerated in nature. There is a possibility to fill 6 electrons in those 3 p orbitals, right? So this is a kind of representation how the orbitals are going to occupied by the electrons. So here, based on this only, you have to assign the properties to these elements. That's why we have to recall all the orbitals whichever present, and a d orbital is associated with 5 orbitals like this. Always d orbitals are double in nature. You can say dxy, dyz, dzx, dx square minus y square, dz square will be there. So when we go with all these d orbitals, 5 degenerated will be there. Subsequently, they are filled with 10 electrons in their orbitals. And when you move on to f orbital, 7 orbitals which are accompanied by 14 electrons of maximum. S orbital with 2, p orbital with 6 electrons, d orbital with the 10 electrons, f orbital with the 14 electron maximum filling will be possible, right? So that is a kind of filling of electrons. And you can say what is mean by S block, what is mean by P block, what is mean by D block, what is mean by A block. Just now we discussed in the modern periodic table, if differentiating electron entered into S orbital of its valency shell, NS1, NS2. So that system is said to be S block. First group and second group together regarded as a S block category and S block elements. When you move on to P block, NP1, NP2, NP3, NP4, NP5, NP6. All these 6 blocks, all these 6 groups are together regarded as P block elements. That means differentiating electron when entered into P orbital of its valency shell, those are regarded as a P block elements, right? And then what about D block? Differentiating electron entered into outer D orbital are called D block elements. D1 to D10 system will be there. So here you can find 10 groups in between S and P block, and they are working like a bridges from S to P block. S block are purely metals, P block most of the materials are non-metals, so they will transform the properties from S to P. They will work like a bridge. And what about F? A block are nothing but if the differentiating electron enters into the outer F orbit of the element, those are regarded as A block elements. A block elements are categorized into lanthanides and actinides. Lanthanum proceeding element will be cerium. Actinium proceeding element will be thorium. So here lanthanide started with a cerium, actinide started with a thorium. So these are the various blocks which are present in the modern periodic table. How many? S block, P block, D block, and A block will be present. That purely based on where the electron is occupying in the valency shell. And this is a kind of representation of modern periodic table. And all S block, P block, D block, and A block elements are represented in a circle manner. There is a repetition. So after entering the electron into S block, S1, S2, now the electron will enter into P, followed by P1, P2, P3, P4, P5, P6, later on D1 to D10, later on F orbital. In this manner, in accordance with the increasing order of their energy, electron filling is possible. That's the reason why it's a kind of representation in the circular manner, because there is a repetition of properties. Periodic table denotes what? After the period of interval, there is a repetition of properties that's simply represented in the circular manner, right? Now, let us move on to few examples related with the categorization. Just so we know what is S block, P block, D block, A block. Extensive study is going to be discussed now. What is meant by S block elements? S block elements are clearly defined as when outer electron is coming into S orbital, right? First group and second group elements. These are called main group elements, and these are regarded as S block elements here, right? So now let us take one of the element from this S block. I'm taking sodium as an example. Sodium being it is a 3s level, means a third principal quantum number will be assigned for this one, and electronic configuration will be regarded as a 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s1. Atomic number will be 11, mass number will be 22.99, almost is equal to 23. And when you see the outer shell, what is the valency shell here? 3s is the valency shell where only one electron will be there. So you can regard this element as a S block element. This is called as a S block element. And this is about the Euler's diagram, where increasing order of electron filling is possible in this manner only. This is a kind of filling of electrons. Already one is subsequently 2s, 2s subsequently 2p, 2p subsequently 3s. This is the kind of order you have to follow in order to fill the electronic configuration. That is purely obeying the above principle, increasing order of energy levels to be filled. So if differentiating electron enters into S orbital, then it is regarded as S block element. And I'm taking sodium as an example, and its electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s1 will be given. And first group, second group elements together regarded as S block, and it is also kind of main group elements. Now let us move on to P block. So here P block table was given here. P block consisting P1 to P6 configuration. That's why the segments will be arranged in the P block elements. And I'm taking aluminum as an example where atomic number is assigned as 10, which is associated with 13 protons in the nucleus, and its mass number will be 26.98, almost is equal to 27. Being it is 13 proton and 13 electron system, we have to arrange in accordance with the Euler diagram. 1:2, 2:2, 2p6, 3:3, 3p1 is outermost electronic configuration. Here, valency shell will be 3:3, 3p1. This entire system is regarded as a valency shell, and 2 plus 1, 3 valency electrons are present here. But the differentiating electron entered into P subshell. That's why you can regard this element as a P block element. If the outermost electron, incoming electron is present in the P orbital, now the element is regarded as a P block element. Again, is a kind of a main group element. S block elements together are regarded as a main group elements, are representative elements, right? So here, this is the entire diagram consisting P block elements started from P1 to P6. Total 6 segments will be there, and last one will be a completely filled one, which is said to be a noble gas category. And here we have 3p1 outermost shell configuration, being differentiating electron present in P orbital. It is regarded as a P block element. I'm going to D block. D block element. D block elements are nothing but if the differentiating electron enters into D orbital, that may be D1 to D10 system. Total 10 segments will be given because there is a probability of filling the electrons from 1 to 10. So that's why D1 to D10 systems are regarded as a D block elements. I'm taking scandium as an example. This is the starting element of D block metal. 21 is the atomic number, and 44.59 will be the atomic mass of this scandium. 21 protons are present in the central nucleus, being it is a neutral one, and even it consisting 21 electrons as well. Now let us see what will be the electronic configuration of this scandium. Its electronic configuration will be 1:2, 2:2, 2p6, 3:2, 3p6, 4:3, 3d1. The differentiating electron will be entering into a d orbital. Then here is the doubt. I got one doubt that after 3p electron entered into 4s, now electron entered into 3d. Actually, in accordance to the principal quantum number, 3s, 3p and 3d should be filled. After 3d, then 4s should be started. But there is an exceptional condition. This is purely explained based on the Euler's diagram. You can find a Euler's diagram. 3p followed by 4s will be there. After filling 3p, the next level energy will be 4s rather than 3d. So here, that's the reason why in accordance with their energy, this is a strict criteria which is obeying Auber principle, where electron, after 3p orbital, next level electron will enter into 4s. After filling 4s level, only differentiating electron will come into 3d. This is in accordance with the increasing order of energy. This is called Auber principle. Right. So here, when the electron entering into differentiating 3d level, the element is said to be a D block element. Here, scandium is a starting element in this D block. D1 to D10 system will be there, and these elements are present in between S block and P block. Right. So this is about a D block, and let us move on to A block. A block is nothing but if the differentiating electron entering into F shell. So F shell is what we can say anti-penultimate shell. Here, these are called transition metals, right? D block elements are called transition metals. And A block elements also have another alternative name called the inner transition elements. A block elements alternatively known as inner transition elements. Why these are called inner transition means, so 5D is the inner shell. When you see 4s is the outer shell, right? 3D will be the inner shell, right? So when compared to 3D, when compared to that, here 4F will be still inner one, because in case of this one, in case of a block element, after filling 6s, next level energy will be 5d, next level energy will be 4f, right? So 4f will be buried inside actually, right? So 4f, fourth principal quantum number, followed by fifth principal quantum number, followed by sixth principal quantum number. So that is the arrangement of shells. But when you consider the energy, 6s will be lower energy, and the next will be 5d, next will be 4f. So 4f will be which level? Outer to inner, inner to sub-inner. That means this is the kind of system called inner transition metal. A block elements alternatively known as inner transition metals because they are penultimate, anti-penultimate shells. Second level inner shells these are. D block are first level inner shell. S block are outer shell itself. But D block inner shell. So inner shell is going to be filled. In case of A block, anti-penultimate shell will be filled. Right, so where these elements are started with cerium. Cerium atomic number is 58, and whose atomic weight was taken as a 140 itself. And when you see the differentiating electron being filled in the 4f level, hence you can say this is a kind of system where the 4f series. Lanthanide elements are 14 because F orbital capacity will be 14 electrons able to fill. F1 to F14, F1 to F14, all these are togetherly called as a 4F series. 5F1 to 5F14 are together called as actinides. Lanthanide elements started with a 58 called a cerium and ends with a 71 called a lutetium. And actinide series started with element number 90 called a thorium and ends at the 103 called a lawrencium. So this is about the representation of A block elements where differentiating electron will be entered into F subshell. F1 to F14 is the series so that each A block is consisting 14 elements in it, right? By this, various categories was completed. Now we are taking all these in a together form. So sodium with atomic number of 11, 1s2, 2s2, 2p6 and outermost shell will be 3s1. So here 3s1 will be filled so that this element is regarded as S block element. Aluminium being it is associated with the atomic number 13, whose mass number will, whose electronic configuration will be 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p1. How many valency electrons? 3 valency electron. And electron entered into the valency shell 3p orbital. That's why you can say it is a p block element. When you move on to scandium, atomic number is 21 and its electronic configuration will be like this: 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 4s2, 3d1. Right, differentiating electron entered into d orbital. That's why scandium is a element of d block. When you move on to cerium, atomic number 58, 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 4s2, 3d10, 4p6, 5s2, 4d10, 5p6, 6s2, 5d1, 4f2 will be taken. So being it is the differentiating electron entered into A subshell, that's why you can say it is a block element. So in this manner, we can categorize all these elements based on the outermost electron, where it is present, in which subshell electron is present. Based on that, here different blocks are given. Entire periodic table categorized into 4 blocks only: S, P, D, F. S block consisting 2 groups, P block consisting 6 groups, D block consisting 10 groups, and A block consisting how many groups? 14 groups are present here, right? So vertical columns are called groups. So this is about the kind of classification based on their differentiating electron present, right? And this is about the same elements are regarded with their valency electrons and L values are provided. Sodium is given with atomic number 11, aluminum atomic number 13, scandium with atomic number 21, cerium with atomic number 58. And for sodium, principal quantum number will be 2. And for aluminum, principal quantum number will be 2 because they are present in the same period. Scandium also present in the same period. But number of their periods are same, but what happened? Their differentiating electron presence. For sodium, differentiating electron present in s orbital. Aluminum, differentiating electron present in p orbital. Scandium, differentiating electron present in d orbital. Cerium, f orbital. But all are present in the same period. Second period, they are present because their principal quantum number is 2. This is about the categorization of all these elements, right? So this is about the modern periodic table, and their categorization and sub-classification was also given. Hope this session will be helpful for your preparation. Thank you one and all.